Going on, Falcon fans? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. So today we're going to talk about the draft. It's draft week, guys. Really excited about the draft. We're going to talk about all the rumors that's been coming out about the draft, the first 7 picks. We're going to talk about what people are saying about the Atlanta Falcons pick at number 8. And then we're going to get into what I actually been thinking about over the weekend, is where looking at the Falcons projected 53-man roster. No, I'm looking out, ahead in the future. But based off last year, at each position, who they kept and how that could factor in of the direction they could go in the draft based off the depth pieces they already have on the roster. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here that I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to talk about the rumors. Of course, most people have the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of people have Atlanta Falcons picking Bijan Robinson at number 8. I think he's plus 200 in betting favorites to actually be Atlanta Falcon. Peter King, a guy who actually picked Atlanta Falcons' last 2 picks in the draft for this regime, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. He had picked Bijan Robinson to be number 8th overall pick this year for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's see, can they get it right 3 years in a row? But we don't know what's going to be determined because we don't know about the first 7 picks. It's been mentioned that, the Houston Texans might not take a quarterback at number 2. And if that's the case, we know that it's going to take away from some of our defensive prospects that we might have been looking forward to get. Where do the quarterbacks fall? How far do they fall? Things like that. Definitely going to be interesting. The guys like Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud. But potentially, right now, it's saying that Bryce Young is going to be the number 1 overall pick. So, those 3 quarterbacks, where they fall in the top 7, does a team move up to try to go get their guy that they like? I don't think the Atlanta Falcons is going to pick a quarterback, even if one of those guys fall to them. But, like I said, you never know what's going to happen. That's why you love the draft, because, all the talking heads, including me, including all the other analysts, we're not inside the war room. We don't know what their board looks like. And we can just go off, what we've seen on film, what we've been hearing, the rumors and things like that, and kind of determine, what the Falcons actually going to do. But, like I said, I've been thinking, and I was looking at what they did last year for as a roster build when they built their 53-man roster, and looking at the pieces that they already have in place now in the locker room. And it's more than what it was last year. Last year, they had a lot of guys on 1-year deals. They still had a lot of space open. They was going to bring in a lot of young guys. This year's a little different. They got a more defined team. The depth is already kind of filled out in most spaces. And you're going to try to build around the fringes, and you're going to try to build towards the future. So if you're looking at what they did last year, they 53-man roster. They kept 5 defensive linemen, 5 outside linebackers, 5 linebackers, 6 cornerbacks, 4 safeties, 6 receivers, 4 running backs, 1 fullback, 3 quarterbacks. If you want to include Felipe Franks, a quarterback, 3 tight ends, 3 tackles, 2 guards, 2 center, punter, kicker, and a holder. Right? That's their 53-man roster from last year. And if you're looking at this year's roster, 77 players on the contract. But if you're looking at the names, if you want to break down by positions, it's really kind of hard to determine, where they go in the draft, because if some of these spots, the depth is already there, and it's good guys are solid in those spots. Some of these guys on 1-year contracts, so you can see where they're building for the future, going out to get guys. That's why the BPA, best player available, comes into play, because you're going to pick guys that can you potentially fill some of these 1-year contracts, once these guys go out the window. But if you're looking at defensive linemen, they kept 5 defensive linemen last year. This year they got Grady Jarrett, David Omiyata, Kalen Ellis, Taquan Graham, and Eddie Goldman. Remember, Eddie Goldman came out of retirement. Those are the 5 guys. Do they decide to go 6 guys? Just say a guy like Jalen Carter falls to number 8. Do the Atlanta Falcons decide to take him? That would be the 6th guy of defensive lineman. Where would they take away from the other position if they decide to go with a guy like Jalen Carter? Look at the outside linebacker position. If you want to fit Tyree Wilson as a defensive lineman, you can. But if you want to fit him as outside linebacker, you can do that as well. But outside linebacker position, we got Bud Dupree, Armor Ebiketie, D'Angelo Malone, Lorenzo Carter, and Ade Ogundeji. Those are guys we got right now. I can see all those guys making the roster. They kept 5 outside linebackers last year. I think they're going to keep all those guys again this year. So you're going to get a guy like my guy, Nolan Smith, right? It's going to add to that room. Where are you going to take away from the 53-man roster projection, right? That's another spot. You look at the cornerback position, another guy we talk about, Derek Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez. Either one of those guys go. They kept 6 cornerbacks last year. You already got AJ Terrell, Jeff Okudah, the Alford, Mike Hughes, Darren Hall, and Cornell Armstrong. It's more than that. It's already on the roster. I'm just looking at those 6 guys that could potentially be on the roster as well. If you pick a Christian Gonzalez or the Witherspoon, what did that mean? You're going to actually go to 7 cornerbacks, or you're going to get rid of one of these guys? Definitely would. You have to, because Christian Gonzalez is your number 8th overall pick, or either or Devin Witherspoon. One of those guys is going to be your 8th overall pick. Look at the receivers. Now, this is a spot where you can see them actually going to get a receiver, not at number 8 overall, but in the draft. Right now, they kept 6 receivers last year. This year, we got London, Holland, Scotty Miller, Jared Barnhart, Cardell Hodge, and Frank Darby. Definitely could see Barnhart and Darby being an odd man out if they decide to keep 6 receivers again. But they could go to 5. It's been some years where some teams keep 5, which you can definitely see on this team because, with the addition of a guy like Jonnu Smith coming in, potential what Cordell Patterson can do in the passing game as well. You could probably deal with 5 receivers vice having 6 on the roster. Tight end position, they kept 3 tight ends last year, including Felipe Franks, would make it 4. So, like I said, they already got 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Felipe Franks would probably be the odd man out this year because they got Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, Parker Hesse, and the rookie from last year, John Fitzpatrick, who we didn't really get to see. That would be 4 tight ends. They kept 3 last year. Like I said, if you want to add Felipe Franks in, but he was considered quarterback / tight end last year, so that would be an extra spot as well. You're going to keep probably 11 offensive linemen. They kept 11 last year. Like I said, 3 tackles, 3 guards, 2 centers. And then y'all had some guys on the practice squad. Right now, you got the three tackles would be Jermaine Fetty, Jay Matthews, and Caleb McGarry. Your guards is going to be question right, because that's one of the positions we've definitely got to look at. The left guard position: Justin Schaefer, Chris Lindstrom, Jaden Mayfield, Matt Hennessy. Do they go get a guy like Peter Skoronski to add to that guard room? And of course, we have guys on the practice squad as well. Centers, you got Drew Dahlman. They brought in Ethan Greenridge. Don't forget about that. Matt Hennessy can play center as well. We can't not forget that piece. So, looking at offensive linemen, 10 to 11 offensive linemen, what they decide to do there. Safety is another spot that's really kind of slim. Right, we got Bates, Grant, and we got Hawkins. Remember, we got rid of one of our safeties when we picked up Bud Dupree. So we can definitely see where the Falcons want to add a safety position. Not at number 8, but in the draft, sometime in the draft. The last position that I'm talking about is the linebacker position. You can definitely see where the linebacker is really thin. We got Troy Anderson. I put Caden Ellis there. Caden Ellis has been all up. You can put Caden Ellis as outside linebacker if you would like. Michael Walker. We brought in Tay Davis. You got Nate Landman and Dorn Etheridge, right? So both of those guys are really young. Are they going to get their opportunity this year, or do the Falcons add in the draft to that position? You can definitely see them adding there. Not at number 8, maybe, but later on in the draft. So, guys, basically what I'm saying is, if you're looking at the projected 53-man roster, and I know the Falcons are, when they're doing their team building, they're trying to see where they can actually fit a guy in. It's all about competition. We know that, but this is one of the years where the Falcons have a little bit more depth already on the roster going into the draft than they had in the last couple of drafts. This is where when a rookie get drafted, he's not expected to come in and have to have an impact right away, depending on what position that you draft him in, right? So if you would draft just say you draft Peter Skoronski, he's probably going to be expected to start at left guard for the Atlanta Falcons this year. If you draft a Bijan Robinson, like everybody thinks is going to happen, we definitely expect Bijan actually to play, a lot of snaps this year. But you got a guy like Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson. Those guys don't have to come in right away and actually play significant snaps because they're coming in with veterans already know spots, and they could, develop like they need to develop. The same can be said at the cornerback position. If you grab a guy like Christian Gonzalez, he's the future, but he don't have to come in right away and start right off the bat. He can actually be developed and learn, under AJ Terrell and a guy who's trying to get, resurrect his career in Jeff Okudah, right? So you can look at it that way. So in some positions, like I said, it's best player available. If a guy like Jalen Carter, if a guy like Tyree Wilson, if a guy like Christian Gonzalez fall, definitely the Falcons could draft those guys. Looking for the future, guys drafting at number 8, but not necessarily have to play right away. You draft a guy like Bijan Robinson, yes, he's probably going to hit the ground running. Guy like Peter Skoronski, you want him to hit the ground running. Draft a guy like Nolan Smith, definitely somebody can develop, uber athlete like himself. Like I could see him actually playing inside linebacker, something he didn't do in Georgia, but with his agility and speed, being able to read, go in coverage as well, I could see that. But this is the beauty of this year's draft for the Atlanta Falcons, because they have so many options where they could go. But when I'm looking at it from a team building standpoint, to where the Falcons really had to have put thought into this, bringing in all these free agents, looking to the future, looking to 2023. Because guys, when I tell you that the NFC is really open this year for a lot of teams to make a really, really big push. I mean, we just lost Aaron Rodgers to the AFC. So the AFC is packed with all the quarterbacks. NFC is sitting over here with guys that really has stuff to prove. You think about it. Think a guy like Derek Carr that just came over here. Who else? You got Matthew Stafford. I mean, it's not a lot of guys that that really is going to scare you in the NFC. Of course, you got Jalen Hurts, just came over. But if you go down the roster, a lot of teams, Dak Prescott might be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC right now. So Kirk Cousins is another guy you probably want to think about. Detroit's quarterback. If you go to our division, it's going to be rookies and young guys. Baker Mayfield, maybe. Of course, Carolina drafting a rookie quarterback. So the NFC is really going to be open for us this year. That's why 2023 is definitely important for the Atlanta Falcons to actually build a good roster and utilize the veteran mixed with the young guys that we have. But also is important for the Falcons to be thinking about the future as well. So picking guys like a Jalen Carter, picking guys like a Tyree Wilson, picking guys like a Christian Gonzalez would definitely be something that can impact us this year and in future years, right? Guys like a Peter Skoronski, guys like a Bijan Robinson is going to be expected to come in and hit the ground running. Just like most top 10 picks That's the luxury of the Atlanta Falcons doing the things that they did this offseason. But guys, based off what I just talked about, based off, last year 53-man roster, looking at all the depth that the Falcons have created for themselves going into the draft, what potentially spot that they can actually go and look for to now, and like I said, for the future, it put them in a really good spot. There's been rumors that they're trying to move down to get more draft capital. They do that, I think they might feel better by going to get a guy like Bijan Robinson because it's not in the top 10. Less money, not the value, because I think he's a dynamic player. I think he's probably the best offensive player in the draft. But getting him for less money, his first 4 years on the contract would be great. Getting my guy like Nolan Smith later as well could also be something they could consider if they was to move down. But looking like they might not have the opportunity. But it's going to really depend on what happens in the first 7 picks. That's really what it boils down to. That second pick to the Houston Texans probably is going to tell a lot about this draft. If they decide to go quarterback, we can actually see things going out where the Falcons potentially get one of those defenders that we want. If they go defense at number 2, I think the Falcons definitely might be out of one of those top defenders that's on this big board for the Atlanta Falcons. So guys, let me know what you think. All these plans, all these decisions, going off what they did last year building a team and what they're doing this year to build a team. What kind of plans do they have? What direction do you think they're going to go? It's really hard to determine the direction for this team, but I'm excited. And despite what everybody's saying, despite what the betting favorites are, we're not 100% sure that the Atlanta Falcons will go Bijan. If they do go Bijan, I'm cool with that. Like I said, a guy who's had over 1,500 yards last year, dynamic guy. In my opinion, he reminds me of a guy like Marshall Faulk, right? Just a good receiver as a running back, can do so many things. Would be dynamic for this offense to go along with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and helping out our young quarterback. So guys, that's all I have. I'm really interested to see what you guys got to hear about this. Based off the numbers that I just called out, what they did last year, and the guys we already have on the roster, where do you see the Atlanta Falcons going to number 8? Stop doing mock drafts because it was so hard because you don't know what's going to happen in the first 7 picks. It's like a crapshoot. So, but my gut feeling that it's going to be offense. Either the offensive lineman or probably Bijan. That's my gut feeling. But it all depends on the first 7 picks. So guys, that's all I have. Really want to hear from you today. Let me know what you think about the Atlanta Falcons team building from a team building standpoint and their roster projections. Yep, you're looking, towards training camp and things like that. But I think that's important when you're trying to look at how they're trying to build this team. And this is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.